Hello everyone, in this video I'm gonna tell you the 4 markers of each chapter which can be asked in the final examination and which are important also. So I'll tell you all the chapters 4 markers and we'll go order wise. See, I'm not gonna tell the answers of it. Answers you have to find by your own, and if you find by yourself then it will be very easy for you to understand the chapter and write in the exam. So it's a self work. So our first chapter is Romeo and Juliet. Questions which can be asked from this chapter are: question number 1, what similes does Romeo use to convey Juliet's beauty? Second question, how according to Juliet would Romeo be immortalized to the world? Third question, how does Romeo glorify Juliet's flawless beauty? Fourth question, how does Juliet want people to forget the shining sun and why? So one thing just clear that the repetition of question here doesn't mean that your time is being wasted. Actually your time is not being wasted. I'm showing different kinds of question which can be asked. They can twist the question and ask in any way, but the answer will be same. Fifth question, between Romeo and Juliet, whose love do you think is more passionate and intense? Our second chapter is Too Dear. Here 4 markers questions are: first question, though gambling is a dirty business, why does the King of Monaco resort to it? Second question, why did the King of Monaco keep changing his mind in dealing with the criminal? Third question, why was the criminal reluctant to go out of the prison? Fourth question, how did the criminal lead his life after his release? Fifth question, what were the arguments put forth by the prisoner for not going out of the prison in the chapter Too Dear? Sixth question, why was the murderer finally subjected to the life imprisonment in the chapter Too Dear? Seventh question, how did the King of Monaco used to exploit the public? Eighth question, why didn't the king punish the criminal? Ninth question, why Monaco was called as a toy kingdom? 10th question, on what condition did the criminal agree to go away from the prison and how was his demand fulfilled? 11th question, why did the Germans stop gaming houses in their country and how did it benefit Monaco? 12th question, you can't earn stone palaces by honest labor. Justify the statement with reference to the story Too Dear. Our third chapter is on children. Here 4 markers are: first question, why does the prophet categorically state your children are not your children? Second question, what does the metaphor bows and arrows signify with regard to parent-children relationship? Third question, according to the prophet, what attitude should parents have towards their children? Fourth question, explain the views of prophet on children and parents in the poem On Children. Fourth chapter, everything I need to know I learn in the forest. In this chapter, you can't write 4 markers by your own. You have to copy the same as given in the textbook. First question, how did the woman led by Bachni Devi put up resistance to felling of trees? Do you think it was effective? Second question, how is it important to promote biodiversity intensive farming and how did the author achieve it? Third question, what did the concept of the Earth University conveys? And how is this different from that of the other universities? Fourth question, what is Chipko movement? Fifth question, explain the role played by Bachni Devi in Chipko movement. Sixth question, explain the role played by Vandana Shiva in Chipko movement. Seventh question, write a note on Navadhanya farm. Eighth question, trace the childhood experience that shaped the author's interest in ecology in the chapter Everything I Need to Know I Learn in the Forest. Ninth question, list the activities that Vandana Shiva undertook after her involvement with Chipko movement. 10th question, how do Caroline Merchant and Francis Bacon differ in their views? 11th question, what ideas of Tagore inspired the author to start the Earth University? 12th question, how Vandana Shiva was inspired by Rabindranath Tagore? 13th question, explain the essay Tapovan which is written by Rabindranath Tagore in the chapter Everything I Need to Know I Learn in the Forest. 14th question, how does the writer bring out the importance of the earth democracy in the chapter Everything I Need to Know I Learn in the Forest? 15th question, how does Rabindranath Tagore highlight the importance of forests according to Vandana Shiva? 16th question, describe the role of forest in Vandana Shiva's life brought out in the chapter Everything I Need to Know I Learn in the Forest. Our fifth chapter is A Sunny Morning. Here 4 markers are: first question, precisely at what point of time do you think Laura and Gonzalo began to recognize each other? Second question, what were the circumstances that led Gonzalo to flee Valencia? Third question, what makes Donna Laura assume that Don Gonzalo is an ill-natured man? Fourth question, did Laura and Gonzalo pine for each other after they were separated by circumstances? Who is more passionate? How do they react to each other now? Fifth question, why do Donna Laura and Don Gonzalo spin fictitious stories about themselves? Sixth question, why do Donna Laura and Don Gonzalo build up stories about themselves? Seventh question, how effectively does Gonzalo account for the love his cousin had for Laura's friend? Eighth question, how do Laura and Gonzalo conceal their identity? In this question, the question is how, not why, okay? Our sixth chapter is When You Are Old. So here 4 markers are: first question, how is the one man different from the many others who loved the lady? Second question, does the poem bring out the transient nature of beauty as against permanence of love? Third question, how is the speaker's passionate love for his beloved brought out in the poem When You Are Old? Our next 7th chapter is The Gardener. So here are the 4 markers. First question, how did the owner's lifestyle change after the arrival of the old man? Second question, what advice did the supporters of Tamanna give for getting back his land? Third question, how did Tamanna react to Basavaya's encroachment of his land? Fourth question, how did Basavaya try to overcome his humiliation? Fifth question, what unique strategy did Tamanna conceive to annihilate Basavaya? Sixth question, why does Basavaya started inviting scholars and musicians to his palace? Seventh question, what measures did Tamanna adopt to humiliate Basavaya? Eighth question, why does Tamanna feel that human nature can be strange? Ninth question, write a note on the rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya as explained in the chapter The Gardener. 10th question, how does Tamanna adopt a counter strategy to challenge the material wealth of Basavaya? 11th question, how does the reference to Russia and America provide another dimension to the story? 12th question, the rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya keeps moving from the visible domain to the invisible. Comment on this statement. Our 8th chapter is To the Foot from its Child, and the 4 markers are: first question, we think of a foot as a part of human body, but Pablo Neruda says to the foot from its child. Explain. Second question, what contrasting description of the foot does the poem offer and why? Third question, how does the Neruda describe the busy life of the individual as represented by the foot? Fourth question, bring out the contrast between illusion and reality in the poem To the Foot from its Child. Fifth question, why does the poet refer to the foot as being a blind man in the poem To the Foot from its Child? Sixth question, trace the stages of foot's transformation as portrayed in the poem To the Foot from its Child. Seventh question, what contrasting description of the foot does the poem To the Foot from its Child offer and why? Eighth question, explain the contrast between colorful dreams and humdrum reality of life with reference to the poem To the Foot from its Child. Our 9th chapter is I believe that books will never disappear. So here are the 4 markers. First question, why does Borges feel remorseful after his mother's death regarding his relationship with her? Can this experience be generalized? Second question, how does Borges elaborate on Goethe's words, all that is near becomes far? Third question, what according to the Borges should one think of humiliations and misfortunes? Fourth question, explains the Borges views on poetry and poem. Fifth question, in spite of modern modes of communication, Borges believes that books will never disappear. Explain with reference to the chapter. Sixth question, a poet's task is to discover metaphor. How does Borges explain this in the chapter Books Will Never Disappear? Seventh question, how does Borges reconcile with his blindness? Explain. Eighth question, why does Borges says that The books will never disappear in spite of modern modes of communication. Ninth question, why does Borges feel guilty about his mother? 10th question, what is blindness according to Borges? 11th question, according to Borges, what is poetry and how does he defines it? 12th question, what does Borges comment on the passage that literature is a dream? 13th question, poetry is magical, mysterious and unexplainable. How does Borges explain the strange aspects of poetry? 14th question, why is it important for poetry to use language preciously? What example does Borges use to demonstrate this aspect of poetic language? 15th question, how does Borges values literature? Why is it important for the future of mankind? Our 10th chapter is Heaven If You Are Not Here on Earth. So here are the 4 markers. First question, describe the beauty in nature that makes the earth a heavenly place. Second question, why does the poet feel that earth is more beautiful than the heaven? Third question, how does the poet explain the illusion of heaven in the poem Heaven If You Are Not Here on Earth? Fourth question, how does the poem Heaven If You Are Not Here on Earth celebrates the power of the poet Kuvempu? Our 11th chapter is Japan and Brazil through a traveller's eye. So here are the 4 markers. First question, why is bowing in Japan a complicated process? Second question, why does bowing, a natural practice in Japanese culture, look so quaint and puzzling to the author? Third question, describe how traffic in Brazil leads to humorous observation. Fourth question, bowing in Japan is quainter, more formal, more oriental. Do you agree? Fifth question, people respect each other's privacy. Explain with reference to the chapter Japan and Brazil through a traveller's eye. Sixth question, what makes Mikes feel that the drivers in Brazil are on lookout for pedestrians? Seventh question, what is unique about bowing in Japan? Eighth question, how does one show appreciation while eating soup? Ninth question, when you are eating soup in Japan, you should make fearful noise and it is a sign of appreciation. Explain with reference to the chapter Japan and Brazil through a traveller's eye. 10th question, how are pavements in Brazil decorated? What does it tells us about the people there? 11th question, who do the drivers look out for when they are driving and why? Our 12th chapter is the voter. So here are the 4 markers. First question, trace the change in the attitude of the villagers before the second election and give reason for it. Second question, what was the justification for the formation of the POP, POP? Third question, Roof is an intelligent manipulator. Justify with reference to the story The Voter. Fourth question, give an account of Roof's role as an election campaigner. Our 13th chapter is Where There Is a Wheel. So here are the 4 markers. First question, what is the role of Arivoli Iyakam in liberating women? Second question, in what different ways does the cycle empower rural women? Third question, why does the author describes the Arivoli cycling training camp as an unusual experience? Fourth question, do you think new literate women taking to cycling contribute to literacy movement? Fifth question, how does Sheila Rani Chunkat, the district collector, promote the empowerment of women? Sixth question, how did the women react to the shortage of ladies cycle? Seventh question, bring out the nature of freedom gained in Pudukkottai with the introduction of cycle. Eighth question, how has cycle transformed the lives of many women in Pudukkottai? Ninth question, why is this cycle called the humble vehicle? 10th question, how does the author P. Sainath shows that cycling brings about changes beyond economic gains in the chapter Where There Is a Wheel? Our last 14th chapter is water. So here are the 4 markers. First question, explain the trouble suffered by the Vada people to get water. Second question, what does the contrast some taking bath once a week and others twice a day connote? Third question, why does water become a matter of dispute? Fourth question, give an account of the humiliation and craving felt in the poem Water. Fifth question, how is the destructive nature of water brought out in the poem Water? Sixth question, how is water a witness to the humiliation caused to the Dalits? So these are the 4 markers of all the chapters. I have found out as many as 4 markers from each particular chapters. So hope you get the best results.